stirring the coffee with 3 burning chopsticks using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, I gotta wait for this smoke to calm down a little bit so I don't burn my house down. Okay, we're good. Nice. Made with that Dunkin' Donuts extra sweet cream stuff. It's good. Against the wind. I'm still running against the wind. I'm older now, but still running against the wind. Bob Seger, 1980. That's what I feel like. Yeah. I remember right after Hurricane Katrina, many years ago, I was taking the kids into the city, ironically, to feed the homeless. This was on a Sunday morning. Saturday night, we spent the evening making sandwiches and putting together lunch bags. A sandwich, a bag of chips, a piece of fruit, and a can of soda. Put it in a bag. And we were going to distribute them to the homeless in Philadelphia. I raised my kids this way. Rather than have them just always observe people sleeping on the park benches and sleeping at the bus station, little covering, those little bus stop things. There'd be 3 or 4 guys sleeping under one of those, sleeping in the train station. But rather than drive into Philly, and I'm just a few miles outside of Philly, I would take the train in. That way, I would take the train right to the middle of the city where most of the homelessness is. And as we're taking the train into the city, my son, who is 21 now, my oldest boy, he's 21 right now. But think about this, this was 15 years ago, so what was he, 6? He's sitting on the train just looking out the window as the train is going through North Philadelphia. And with all innocence, he looks at me and says, "Dad, did the hurricane go through here?" Because what he saw on TV, all the destruction that the hurricane caused down south, Philadelphia looked like a hurricane went through it. And all he could think was, "Dad, did a hurricane go through here?" What a learning experience that was for him. No, son, that wasn't a hurricane. So I raised my kids having compassion for people in the same way that I have compassion for people. Working with incarcerated, mentally unstable, mentally retarded. And I've always had that since I was a kid. Always reaching out to people that were needy and different. Always. Just never. My mother would tell me that. I would be in a public place and a Down syndrome person would come up to me and just hold my hand, because they sensed in me that I'm that kind of helping individual. Now I'm a dad, a young father with young children, and the kids were all little, and we're feeding the homeless because we always ate fine. And there were some people who were going without meals, so I did that with my kids. But what a lesson. Dad, did a hurricane go through here? There's a hurricane in Philadelphia now. I should do a podcast with my oldest son to get his thoughts about things. He wasn't raised to think this was normal. By the way, the rooster picture behind me, I've had many, many people draw roosters for me. I've had many people paint and sketch pictures of me and send them to me. It's been interesting over the years. The rooster behind me is from the Ortiz in Texas. The rooster is just minding his own business, stirring his Starbucks coffee that was given to him. In the distance, a storm of opposition starts to form. The rooster calmly and stoically sets his cup on his stool, puts on his gloves, kicking over the bottle of red pills, and prepares for a fight. Mr. Ortiz says, I had to walk away from a 6-year toxic marriage with a covert narcissist. Your shows have helped me to stay no contact and encouraged me. May the Lord bless all your work. Your artistic fan and friend, Mr. Ortiz in Texas. Thank you. You embody all that the Daybreak Show is about, and I appreciate that. I may be the only guy that encourages men to walk away from marriages when every other cuck is teaching men to be cucks. Stay in there. Hang in there in that marriage. You don't have to be a plow horse. You don't have to be a punching bag for anybody. And as you've heard others say, the woman you marry is never the woman that you divorce. You know, the angel that you married is not the devil that you divorce. But men are getting their balls back. And hopefully not losing their life in their shirt when they leave a shit show of a marriage. People say, well, are you afraid of being called anti-marriage and encouraging divorce? And no, I'm not at all. Because I coach way too many men who are on the verge of offing themselves, who've been through a lot of crap because everyone in the world says, hang in there. Winners never quit, quitters never win. You know, sometimes you gotta just, what do they say, hang up the skates and walk away. You don't do it the first time. You don't do it the third time. But if it's been a lifestyle of losing in that marriage, it's time. Get your ducks in a row and get out of Dodge. Every other Christian guy is going to tell you, hang in there, pray for her. While she has a boyfriend, you're praying for her. While you are getting your act together, some dude is buying her a steak dinner. I'm the only man in the world who's going to tell you to get your ducks in a row and get out of Dodge. How many of you guys mouth off and say, I'm going to leave? And then she starts squirreling away money, changing the locks on the house. Men, it's okay to take your balls back. I give you permission. You'll be fine. If you say 2 + 2 = 5 long enough, people will start to believe it. The one who knows it equals 4, they don't feel the need yet to yell it out. They just shake their head at the 2 + 2 = 5 gang. Pretty soon it becomes a political issue. It's not long before there's parades celebrating 2 + 2 = 5. They hijack a color or a symbol that traditionally represented something glorious and holy. It enters the work world. If you even mention 2 + 2 = 4, you may lose your job. You can do the math and prove that 2 + 2 = 4, but they won't believe you. The 2 + 2 = 5 bunch will actually try to use science to prove their point, that 2 + 2 = 5, and they're going to say you're stupid. Or in the dark ages, if you believe that 2 + 2 = 4. Take heart. Don't let the fivers discourage you. Yell it from the housetops at the top of your lungs. 2 + 2 = 4. It's amazing how the warped media defines courage. It used to mean something like a single soldier holding back 10 Taliban or a firefighter running into a burning building to rescue someone. Don't let this world squeeze you into its mold of redefining things like courage and hero. We haven't seen any courage or heroes recently. Do not let the media define for you what courage is. You haven't seen any courage recently. Not a bit. Did you ever take a Myers-Briggs type inventory? What are you? I'd like to see you put it down. I'm not sure who follows me if you took the Myers-Briggs. I happen to be an ENFP, and I hate to be categorized into a small group. I'm not big into categorizing people by skin color, intelligence, where they went to college, gender. I am 100% about merit. 100%. You get what you work for, you get what you negotiate. You don't get what you steal. You don't get what is given free to you. That's worthless. Then you'll never appreciate it. I love a meritocracy. You get what you work for, you get what you negotiate for. That being said, other ENFPs are Hunter Thompson, Mark Twain, Oscar Wilde, Walt Disney, Jerry Seinfeld, Orson Welles, Sandra Bullock, Keira Knightley, Will Smith, Jason Statham, Robin Williams, Robert Downey Jr., and Paul Harvey. I guess if there is a crowd that I associate with, that's not a bad crowd. Have you ever felt like you didn't know what to pray? Or you feel at a loss for what to say? You might benefit from ritualistic prayer, but not Pharisee prayer. Maybe it would help to say the Lord's Prayer a few times. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to say, Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me. And if you have no words, if you just don't feel like it, even your sighs, here's the cool thing, your sigh is a prayer. Can you imagine you're frustrated, you have anxiety, and you go into your living room or your kitchen, you've been watching the news, you didn't turn it off like I told you to. You go to sit down in your chair and you go, that was a prayer that God heard. That sigh was a prayer that made it to heaven. You know what that was? That was the Holy Spirit praying for you. Praying with groanings that can't even be uttered. There's no words for them. Sometimes prayers are just sounds. When you sit down and just, like, good boy, you come over to get some loving all the time from Daddy, right? At the end of a long day, you sit down and just put your head in your hands and sigh. Or if you happen to be watching TV and you're looking at some of the horror on TV, and the only thing that can come out of your mouth is, that's a prayer. Don't be tricked into thinking that you need to have some fancy prayer. God hears your prayers, and He's there. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you tomorrow on the Daybreak Show, your source for sanity, clarity, and reason. Not older, but we're growing wiser, I think.
Oh, I think so too. I mean, I know back in the 90s, I was traveling to Europe a lot, going to film festivals, and a lot of the people that were really cool and hip and and special were way older. Like they were way older. And I just always imagined, I was like, wow, I guess when I grow up, I'm going to have to move to Europe because it sure isn't that way in the United States, but it's becoming that way here. Like it
Yeah,
is
it is.
becoming that way. And I think, I honestly believe that what has everything to do with it is the internet. Because like we see, we've been since like the late 90s, really, like we've been so aware of everything else all over the rest of the world. Like we all communicate. And so there's not really the chance to be so different. Like we're all becoming more aware of like what humanity wants, what humanity leans toward, not just about specific little pockets.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to everything that life has in store for us.
Me too, right? It's fun.
Yeah. Conversation with Deborah Twist, Fringe Dwelling. Deborah, thanks. Appreciate you joining me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. This is really fun. I always love talking to you. You're so fun.
Thanks, Deborah.